Today we're talking about a major gotcha in MySQL, and that's the relationship between the MySQL drop table command and the foreign key constraint. And basically the foreign key constraint defines a relationship called a parent table child table relationship. And to me, in a way, parent table and child table should be reversed in the way the name is, but basically a parent table is a table that supplies information that the child table needs. And this will become a lot clearer when we look at an actual example. In this example we have three tables: a chapter table, a book table, and an author table. And the way this is set up, we have one author that has one primary key called author ID, and that's it. There's no foreign key constraints on this at all because this is the parent. And then we have a book table where we have the name of the book and the book ID, which is a primary key, defined down here as a primary key. But then we have an additional field called author ID, which maps into the author ID of the parent table. And in order to define that, we have a foreign key constraint, which says foreign key author ID references the author table and the author ID in the author table. So this author ID refers to this field, and this author ID refers to this field. It just has the same name because I think it makes it clearer. So this is a parent and this is a child. And then we also have a grandchild called chapter, where we have a name of the chapter and then we have a chapter ID that's the primary key defined here. And then we have a foreign key constraint that says the book ID in chapter references the book table and the book ID, which is the primary key up here. And basically what happens if you drop these tables, if they have data in them, and I think even if they don't have data in them, MySQL is going to basically append with an exception if you don't do it in exactly the right order. First you've got to drop the grandchild table, which removes all constraints on the book. So if you remove all chapters, there's no references to the book, so we're now free to drop the book table. So it can drop the grandchild and drop the child. And then finally, when we've dropped all the books, we've removed all the foreign key references to author. So we can now do a drop table on author, and we won't get any exceptions or appends to the code running because we've done it in this order. There's now no dependencies on author, so we can drop author without MySQL complaining. So basically you have to drop the grandchild first, then drop the child, then drop the parent, then create the parent, and then create the child, and then create the grandchild. So it's a reverse order. You drop in the grandchild to parent order, and you create in the parent to grandchild order. And we'll look at another gotcha of this kind of foreign key constraint, which is the truncate command, which you handle entirely differently, but we'll look at that in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a lot, and I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe.